Listener Request Month returns in September. That's right. As of right now, the request lines are open. If you want to make a selection and help us program the show, pick up your phone and dial 856-347-7328. That's 856-DISSECT. If you need to hear the number again, use the back button on your phone. Or check the show notes.
Or do the transcript. We learned that recently.
Yes.
You can search in the transcript.
You can. We were trying to figure out if we had a conversation on or off the podcast, and the internet was able to help us.
Yeah,
which
I was like, what was the tableside food I wanted to have at my hypothetical wedding? It was peanut butter.
Peanut butter. That's right. I thought it was restaurant, not wedding.
Well, I was saying an ultimate restaurant or at my wedding kind of thing.
Got it. Anyway, call that number 856-DISSECT, and we want your name, where you're calling from, and the movie you'd like us to do. Give us a couple quick sentences on it. Everybody's been very good about this. Normally I'm like, don't leave a 2-minute or 4-minute long message, but people have been pretty good. Yeah. Short, sweet, to the point. Let us know why you think it'll be a good episode or what you like about the movie or whatever, but keep it quick. And then we will do a live drawing later in August. The deadline for these is August 15th, that's a Thursday, at midnight. So 11:59:59.
The last echo.
Once the bell tolls.
The last echo of the last stroke of the last bell of midnight.
If it's August 16th, you are too late. So once again, name, where you're calling from, and the movie you'd like us to cover. Call 856-DISSECT. If you're an international listener, we know that you're out there. We were just recently, I believe, the 198th most popular film review podcast in Norway. So if you're out there with
eating your school bread,
school bread, I don't know anything about that.
Have you not? It's like the big thing in Epcot in the Norway Pavilion in the bakery.
No, I don't know that one.
I think it might not actually be SCHO. It might be like SKO with umlaut L.
Okay,
but it is like a sweet bread.
But is it like, I guess students eat it?
I don't know if it's actual.
Or is school like sugar?
I don't know. I spoke
not Danish. What country did I
Norway.
Say? Norwegian.
It's Norway. So Norwegian.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've actually eaten any of the bakery stuff in Epcot in the Norway Pavilion. So I spoke with a lot of confidence and nothing to back it up.
A lot of confidence. Oh, you must be Eleno. Anyway. Call the number, leave your name and all that good info. If you are international, send a voice memo to dissectingthe80s@gmail.com with all that information. So record it on your phone, send that email, and we will draw those out. Just make the subject line Listener Request Month. If you're on Patreon, you get a bonus episode too, and that will be probably put up in August, I'm guessing. So we'll do yours a little bit early. But visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to learn how you can support the show. See our previous ad for that. But you also get another shot at getting your movie picked if you go that route. Once again, 856-DISSECT, August 15th. Make those calls. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers. And with me, as always, my tag team partner, Andrew.
That's going to get clipped out of context when we get famous. That's going to have a different thing on it. My name is Andrew Lano.
That is a very good and accurate impression of the way that
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. My brain was like Michael Bolton. I was like, that's not even in the right universe. That is exactly how Mickey Rourke talks when he is wearing all this makeup.
I know.
I was astounded.
I know. But
no, I know you watched the movie. I'm just saying. So originally this was supposed to be John Lie. So we had Johnny Dangerously. Now we have this Johnny Handsome movie. But instead we have the month of John here in June. So
we could also, I think next year, I'm going to pitch it on air.
Okay.
June Carpenter presents : Dissecting the 80s.
Yeah, we could
do a John Carpenter month.
Yeah. I think... Oh, it was Kurt Russell's birthday. That's right. I think John Carpenter's birthday falls in a month that is another standing theme month for us, which is why I did that Kurt Russell thing. But yeah, I like the month of John Carpenter. There's only a handful of those left.
June Carpenter presents : Dissecting the 80s, because he has to get billing above the title.
Yes, that's right. That
is his major stipulation.
Yes. Well, look, if you're gonna pay him money to direct a show, I did not watch the Peacock thing.
The Suburban. I didn't either. Is it like talking heads and reenactments, or is it just like?
I think that is my understanding.
Okay, I didn't know if it was that or
But
just
he directed
straight up reenactments.
He directed it from his couch, and it filmed in another country.
Wait, what?
He directed it over Zoom.
I didn't know this one. That's fun.
It's absolute king shit. He was like, yeah, I'll do it, but I won't leave my house. They like set up a Zoom, basically Zoom. I'm sure it was more expensive than that, but like real time video feed for him at home.
It was like a reverse Mandalorian, where instead of a virtual background in real time, it was a virtual director in real time.
Yeah, like here's John Carpenter at home smoking weed and playing NBA, whatever. He's a big NBA video game guy, and in Romania, there's like 9.
Wait, the movie, the show about American suburbia was shot in Romania?
I am not 100% sure that's right, but I feel like
you would think at least they would do Wilmington, North Carolina,
or like,
Atlanta.
At worst,
Atlanta's a good one.
At worst, Vancouver.
Yeah,
so
it just seems very strange to go that far away.
He directed it from his couch. It's a real true fact. I'm gonna as we're doing the intro to the show, see if I can find the answer to the question. But so I'll do this. We watched Johnny Handsome. Wow, I went all Bobby Ray there. We watched Johnny Handsome. So you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your boring-ass quote-unquote thriller. So it's your boring-ass quote-unquote thriller.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott!
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah!
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
I hated this, by the way. I'm just gonna say that at the top.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't hate it. I think it's like a B- version of this kind of movie, but it was a real bummer because I was looking forward to it a lot. I honestly, the trailer for this, based on who's in it and the vibes, makes it seem like it's going to be in the ballpark of Hard Target.
Was it a modern day trailer or a back then trailer?
No, a back then trailer. It looked like kind of junky, but in the fun way.
It was the same kind of problem I had with Lisa Frankenstein, which we talked about, I don't know, in recent memory on this pod.
Yeah.
That it just like meanders and there's no real stakes or tension or explanation of the character's thoughts or, the basics of filmmaking, I find.
Yeah.
And then on IMDb, I read that someone had the audacity for the first sentence of their review. This is an engrossing, pulse-pounding thriller. Is the thriller in the room with us? Is your pulse pounding in the room with us?
So here's what I think. I think this is like possibly a movie that was cut to shreds, and there's like a director's cut out there that's better. Although I did not find out.
Nothing online seemed to suggest that.
But it does feel that way when you watch it, right? Do you agree with that?
Kind of. I think the big thing is that like when you say it's a neo-noir thriller, your brain conjures up images. Like it is a smoky room. There's Venetian blind shadows. There's
Well, that's a noir thriller.
But I'm saying like that's sort of like there's a level of, I don't want to say camp, but there's a level of like heightenedness.
Okay. Yeah.
And it just I was like, these seem like they're living in our world, which why aren't they take me to a new world. Like this just felt like I was like, oh, this is going to be some like weird gritty like dirty version of Los Angeles, and instead I was like, no, this is just very real 80s very real 80s Los Angeles.
No, they're in New Orleans
or whatever. Like it didn't feel like that. Like, you know what, like New Orleans has a flavor to it.
Oh, so the thing I like most about this movie is how much it feels like a New Orleans thing to me, which is interesting.
There was like no wrought iron fencing. There was like
the whole big cemetery at the end.
Oh, you mean the last 15 minutes of this movie?
Okay. Well, I don't want to argue with you, but I do feel like it's a pretty
No,
New Orleans movie.
a better,
Yeah.
like a New Orleans flavored movie was that one you showed us on your bachelor party.
Yeah, Hard Target.
Hard Target, yeah. That feels and tastes
A masterpiece.
like a New Orleans movie.
A masterpiece.
The season of American Horror Story Coven feels and tastes very New Orleans.
So the Hard Target example is also apt because Lance Henriksen is the bad guy in both of those.
Oh,
and
yeah.
my personal theory is he just was living there for like a 4-year period and being a grimy, scuzzball that he is.
Is it, wait, do you mean in real life or is he a real life scuzzball?
I don't know.
Oh.
He only plays.
Well, I just wanted to make sure.
I hope that Lance Henriksen is an incredibly nice person. It would be a real bummer to me to find out he sucked because I love watching him be a bad guy. But I don't want him to be a jerk. John Carpenter, by the way, the show was filmed in Prague, so I did confirm. It was
close.
I was in the general vicinity. Okay. Quick plot recap before we go any further.
Oh, right.
Johnny Handsome is, I'm going to try to remember this as much as I can because I do think that was good advice. I forget that listener's name, but it was good suggestion. Johnny Handsome is a story of Mickey Rourke, who has severe facial disfiguration, and his older brother. They're both kind of small-time crooks. They get caught up in a job that goes bad. The brother dies. Mickey Rourke goes to prison, and then as he's nearing his release from prison, gets offered the opportunity to get serious facial reconstruction and a new identity. And they're basically doing this as a rehabilitation type thing, that they will give him this new face, and with a new face and new identity, he has, is more likely to be able to, turn his life around, make changes in his life and better himself, giving him more opportunity than he would have otherwise. So that's the quick version of the plot here. This is directed by Walter Hill, previous episode Streets of Fire.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
Possible future episodes, The Warriors and 48 Hours.
I've always wanted to see The Warriors. I feel like I quote it quite a bit.
I think you would
like if I hold two glass things
Warriors
together, I clink them.
Sure. Yeah. Come out and play. Here's the problem with The Warriors. One of the leads is the ham sandwich from the
Xanadu?
Yes.
Really?
That was his only other credit. Yeah. He was in the Warriors, and then they were like, well, clearly you're the key here for Xanadu. So Mickey Rourke is in these heinous prosthetics, and many people have made the joke that like, oh, he kind of looks more like this now than the very young Handsome, because he spent 3 to 5 years amateur semi-professionally boxing, which is just like a ludicrous choice.
A strange choice for an actor. It is strange how very much it's like his look is pulled from Mask. It's just Mask, right?
Yes.
It's not the
Rocky
Mask
Dennis.
is the green one.
Yeah.
Just Mask
Correct.
is Cher.
Yeah, Rocky Dennis. You know who produced that movie, by the
Mel
way?
Brooks.
Yeah,
So
pretty
weird.
crazy. Yeah.
But I think he didn't want his name high on it because he didn't want people to find
his name is not on it
he
at
said he
all
didn't want
because he
people
was
to think it was a comedy.
Yeah, exactly. And because people could very easily take that movie the wrong way.
Yeah. Which the fact that because Mask is based on a very real person.
Yes.
Who his design
elephantitis, I believe, is the disease.
Elephantitis, yeah.
Yeah.
His facial look is pulled directly from the real person, as far as I know.
Yeah, or if not, it's obviously based
medically researched, and so this just feels squicky that they took a very very heavy drama drama movie, with very real medical research, and they were like, well, what if we slap this guy in it?
So here's the thing, though. I think this idea is cool. I think the idea, it's like 7-8 years later, maybe the time's a little off there, we get a similar crazy facial prison movie in Face Off that is the right tone for this, which is this is ridiculous. It should be treated as such.
This movie,
and instead it's played very straight.
This movie is far more improved if we rewrite Morgan Freeman's character, because I don't fucking understand it. But if we rewrite it where he is working with Forrest Whitaker and saying, hey, Johnny Handsome, we're going to give you a new face and a new identity in exchange for you going undercover to get those people. Immediately this movie is better.
Right. Yep.
Because it doesn't it just meanders. There's no tension. There's no stakes. I don't know what the hell that person on IMDb was talking about. That there's a pulse-pounding, engrossing thriller. Like, what?
And just a slight tweak on your suggestion, which I think is excellent. Yeah. If it's like Morgan Freeman is blocking the like access, right? Like he has some ability to like prevent this. And then,
so it's you either do this and get this, or you don't do it
yes,
and you don't get it.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Okay. Yep.
And so it's like, Forrest Whitaker makes the offer. Mickey Rourke says yes. And then he's like, I'm sorry, they won't let me do it. And then there's like a heart to heart with Mickey Rourke and Morgan Freeman. They come to an understanding. They maybe Mickey Rourke even proposes, like, what do I have to do? You want me to help him catch him?
You're just doing Sly Stallone now.
Well,
which I like better.
The other voice I feel a little uncomfortable
We
doing
should.
because
we all should.
Well, look, I think it is completely reasonable to do the voice in relation to this character who sounds just like that.
Yes.
Who does not have any sort of a lot of people use that voice to do a real shitty thing about people with special needs. I don't think that's what's
people
happening
with
here.
hearing disabilities.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. It does have a sort of deafness quality to it. That's not what's happening. So maybe I'll just today
Just do Sly Stallone. The role of Mickey Rourke and Johnny Hansen will be played by Sly Stallone.
By Sly Stallone, yes. From here on out. So like there could even be that part of it that like Mickey Rourke has the idea, right? Like that gives him a little more agency that he's like, oh, I'll catch him if you whatever. So like, yeah, because later we'll get to this obviously in time, but there was a point where I was like, wow, I'm shocked that this isn't like Mickey Rourke laying a trap. And then some more stuff happens. I'm like, oh, I guess maybe he did lay a trap. And then a couple more things happen. I'm like, he's not laying a trap.
I kept flip-flopping. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. So I feel like this movie had to have a bunch of stuff cut out of it that just like it just feels like a movie that was 2 hours, and whoever the shitty studio head of the day was like, cut this piece of shit down to 90 minutes, we'll crank more showings in the day.
Also, the ending needs tightening.
Yeah, it's a bad ending. But we'll get through it. We'll walk through this because there are some parts of this that I do think are genuinely pretty fun.
I like Ellen Barkin's performance
like, individually.
But I just like Ellen Barkin. Good. Period.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, come on, Lance Henriksen is genuinely awesome
obviously. Like we already talked about him.
Yeah. And I think Forrest Whitaker is good. Like this is not a really this is kind of not quite. I don't know what the word is, but it's not quite a thankless performance, but it's in the ballpark of a thankless performance where it's like mostly you're here to drop some exposition, but he does a good job with it. And I like the absurd world of the job that he has later. Everything about it, I have a lot of things
we'll get
to say.
there.
So
Ellen Barkin from Drop Dead Gorgeous and one of my favorite episodes of Poker Face.
Oh, that's what it, yeah, Poker Face. The whole time I was like, what the hell do I know this lady from? So I have this problem. I started using Letterboxd a while ago, which is like a movie tracker. It's lightly social media, but feel free to follow me on there if you want. It's just my name. But you get some sneak previews for the show, I suppose, as well. Also, I think one of our listeners has a list of all the episodes on there,
that's
which
cool.
is very cool. And I appreciate the effort that has gone into maintaining that. I think it's Shane. If I'm wrong, you can tweet at us. It's at Dissect the 80s, but I think it's Shane who has maintained that list. So thank you for doing that. I know that's not the easiest job. Also, the podcast is on YouTube now, in case anybody wants that.
What?
Just another thing. Yeah, there's a feature. Google Podcast Manager was going away, and they were like, because we're doing this, we've made a very easy tool to upload your entire podcast to YouTube if you'd like. And I was like, okay, I just have to click a button, and then I just did it, and the whole podcast is on YouTube now.
Okay, cool.
So it's at Chum Some of This, but you can just search the name of the podcast and the episodes. It's now available for streaming that way. So
no video though.
I should have made an announcement. No video, because that is a lot of editing. If somebody wants to be our video editor, please feel free. Also, as always, we're looking for artists. I have a couple of ideas. I'd love to do some designs, like maybe something like the start screen of an old 8-bit video game or a VHS cover. So if that's some kind of art style you'd like to do, and we would pay you. This is not like we'll pay you an exposure. We'll pay you with real American dollars. So reach out. dissectingthe80s@gmail.com if you're an artist or graphic designer and you have an idea for us, or you think one of those ideas sounds cool. what was I in the middle of saying before I sidetracked over there?
Letterboxd, Poker Face, Ellen Barkin.
Oh, yeah. So Letterboxd, when you click on the movies, it only has the people's movie credits, and often I know the person from television. And so I end up having to do like a second step, which is a stupid thing I keep doing.
Yeah, she was in the theater episode with
Oh, yes.
Jamila Jamil and
what's the guy?
Oh fuck. Is it the principal from Mean Girls?
Is it Tim Meadows? Maybe it's Tim Meadows. Okay. I don't remember at all. Anyway, it's not important. This is not a Poker Face podcast.
It could. I would much rather talk about Poker Face than this movie.
Well, look. How about one day we do a Columbo episode?
Oh, sure. I'll let you.
We could do the pilot. Steven Spielberg directed that.
Okay.
Or you could go see the cast of villains and pick an actor you like. It's Donald Pleasance is a bad guy. He was a murderer on the show.
It's like what I tell people when they want to get into Murder, She Wrote. I'm like, Google guest stars in Murder, She Wrote and find the people you like.
William Shatner did two. The fun thing with the TV from that era is like some people played a bad guy like 2 or 3 times, and it's like, well, who would ever catch it?
Yeah, they were different.
You'd
people.
have to have watched. Yeah. Anyway. We got Lance Henriksen and Ellen Barkin. They're standing by a river, just running down Mickey Rourke. It's like straight to this man's face. She's like, "You look like a piece of dog shit." And Lance Henriksen's like, "Dog shit looks 5 times better than this guy." I'm making up the dialogue, but it's close.
Yeah, it's weird.
We also have an extra that looks exactly like Kyle Gass, which you'll know as one of the 2 writer guys in Elf.
Writer guys in Elf.
The ones who are like the best writers, and then he's like, "What's your big idea?" He's like, "We bring in what's his face? Peter Dinklage. And he's like, "Your big idea, my 2 best writers, is that we bring in another writer."
Oh, yes. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
So he's like a balding, heavyset guy. Mm-hmm. He's also Jack Black's partner in Tenacious D.
I thought that's who that was.
Looks just like him. Okay. He looks just like him. This extra does. And then we're introduced to Scott Wilson, who's Mickey Rourke's older brother.
People might know him from... keep saying that. I didn't know they were brothers. Do they say it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's like a picture of them with like arms around each other. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I saw that picture.
Okay.
But I didn't...
Okay. I'm pretty sure they're brothers. I'm like 97% sure that's right. I think I read it on the Wikipedia. But he's that's the actor is Scott Wilson, who people probably know as Herschel from The Walking Dead, but also very good in the Heat of the Night, which a movie that I started watching with Mom and Dad, fell asleep, and liked so much I had to come home and find.
Okay,
tremendous movie. I always thought, because like I only knew the movie from Reputation, that it's the
boob
Sidney
movie, right?
Poitier. No. It's Sidney Poitier. He's like a cop, and he goes down to this. He's a cop from Philadelphia, and he's sent down to help this backwards hick town in the South solve a murder because they can't. And he's like a very good detective, and they don't
none of them
have
can
detectives.
understand him because he talks funny.
Well, they're all very, very racist. Is the
I would
thing.
go more for a Delco, a Wooder.
It would, if you had a version of Sidney Poitier instead of being like Mr. Perfect English,
doing Mayor of Easttown.
Doing Mayor of Easttown, like, you went down to Rita's and got a Wooder race.
What you doing, Sandy? Why don't you come over, get some hoagies?
Watch the birds.
That Jason Kelsey makes me cry.
We'll kick those giants' asses.
Who's Jason Kelsey think he is making me cry like that?
You're not allowed to retire. I haven't tried to get in on that before, and I feel like it was easier than I ever expected to get in that pool.
So my keyword.
I'm not that good at it, but I'm better than I thought I would be for just like, well, I'm jumping in this particular pool.
My keywords are Dorter and Wooder.
Those are both good. It's a late night record. We're recording a little different time than usual, so it might be a little silly.
Freewheeling.
Yeah. No, but so I only know the scene. This happens sometimes with old movies where it's like just one thing becomes the thing, and so I only ever knew the scene from that movie where he's like, "They call me Mr. Tibbs.
You mean?
And I always thought,
You mean the sequence? The old movies would have one scene in the ending
Yes.
montage of the Great Movie Ride, and then, and so that's.
I don't know if it was actually in the Great Movie Ride, but yes, you're 100%
pretty
right.
sure it's in that final swirl of movies.
But like based on that scene, I always thought it was like kind of like a serious drama about race relations. And don't get me wrong, the movie is very much about racism, but it's like a really fun cop movie from the 60s or 70s.
Oh.
And I think it's the late 60s. But it's like a super entertaining, like mass appeal type movie. It's not this like sort of boring Oscar bait type thing, which is I always assumed it was based on this out of context.
Well, also,
scene where
I
he's-
tend to think of Sidney Poitier as like.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the same way, like Meryl Streep movies are often like very serious, Oscar-y, heavy things.
Yeah. But he did like, mass entertainment stuff, and that movie's excellent. Great. I highly recommend In the Heat of the Night if people are in the mood for watching a good movie, which is not in this one.
No, it's not.
I was also having this thought. I didn't mean to bring up the Great Movie Ride. This is just something I've been cooking for like
it.
weeks, so you brought it up. I was watching a thing recently where someone was at Universal and they were like talking to someone about the old stuff that used to be there, but like how movies are made and stuff. Mm-hmm. The Hitchcock and the Murder, She Wrote.
And the makeup one used to be more factual.
Yeah. And the one guy was like, man, I just such a bummer that stuff's not here. And the other person was like, yeah, kids just aren't into that now. And I was thinking, I was like, I wasn't into it. I was just there.
It was there.
Yeah. And it's like, a real serious foundational part. Like I would go so far as to say is like, I don't think this podcast exists if we aren't going to that like movie nerdy stuff and like having those experiences as kids and getting like, I got way more into movies through those kind of attractions and the Great Movie Ride and those things. And I understand that like, yeah, a lot of that stuff feels very dated and like, whatever. I understand that the wheel of progress moves forward, but I just found it like very odd that it's like, oh, nobody's into that. And it's like, well, I mean, I was 6, I was just there. And then I was like, oh, this is neat. And then I wanted to learn more and whatever. But the flip side is if they were to do a movie now about like how they make a Marvel movie, they'd be like, okay, all of you stand on these green boxes.
Not even all.
And then
one of you stand on a green box. One of you is in London on a green box. And one of you is back in LA on a green box.
And then the like magic would be them like compositing the shot from like 4 different, booths they would stick you in.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh yeah, a lot of it is because they just don't make movies practically very much anymore.
He'll be like, it's Elizabeth Olsen never met John Krasinski when they filmed that scene together.
Yeah. Which stunned me. The trailer for Paddington 3 just dropped, and all those people are in a real ass jungle somewhere. They actually went to a jungle.
I saw that the trailer dropped. I hadn't watched it yet, but I'm excited to. I'm a Paddington.
Yeah, I finally got you on the Paddington train. Yeah,
I'm on the you might say the padding wagon.
That'll be a Patreon bonus at some point. Just Trip and Andrew just watch Paddington and don't do commentary because they're just enjoying the movie.
Just crying about
just quietly whimpering.
Yes.
All right. So back to the movie. We're about to rob a coin store, which honestly seems like of all the things you could rob, the most pain in the ass to deal with the after effects.
Yeah, because it's not like you can like go put the coin in a gumball machine. Like you can't use the coin. You have to You have to I don't know fence. That's the word. I was like, there's a word here.
Yeah, and it's like not only that though, but it's like presumably if you had a fistful of stolen gold and silver, platinum, diamond, whatever jewelry, there's like many people for whom that's a commodity they want
go to pawn
purchase.
shops.
Right. Or, whatever. There's a million ways to do it. But, like, there's not that many people that are going to want to buy rare coins at anything close to their value.
Yeah, because the guy says it's worth $77,000. And I was like, the man with a crew cut in Pawnee, Indiana, who runs the pawn shop, is not going to give you $77,000 for that.
Right. And then
you're going to get like $10,000 and a tank of nitrous.
It was like, what are you gonna pick up Numismatist magazine and go after like the ads in the back where you're selling all these coins? It's like, this is not gonna work. That's right, I did drop the word for coin collector. It's numismatist.
Wait, so I thought you were saying like NEW space
No,
MIS.
I believe
NU.
NUM.
Wow.
I believe NUMISMATIST, but I did not look that up. So
Wait, before we go, how far back are we allowed to go? Like contemporary? It's 24 years.
As long as it's 25 years, it's good. So 99 and earlier. Next year it'll be 2000 and earlier.
Right, so
in 2001.
So Drop Dead Gorgeous might be a future episode then. That's 99. I checked.
Yeah, for sure. They do. So the heist, this opening heist part, I do think is kind of pulse pounding. I will give the person that this opening is fun. It's a different style of heist than you normally see in movies, and I like all of the like setup for it with the cars. Like they have two different cars block the means of entrance, and then they blow up those cars.
Yeah.
So that there's like a huge distraction on the street, and then they're doing the classic smash and grab. And I gotta be honest with you, it's just very satisfying to see a lot of glass breaks. Sometimes.
It's like that scene in Zombieland. It's just really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
Batman Returns, depending on your age.
Yeah. I was actually just on another one. I was just watching Run Lola Run, which I hadn't seen since I was in college. And there's a great sequence where this ambulance like almost hits a pane of glass being carried across the street. And then they loop it, and then the second time through, it goes right through. And watching a car go through a sheet of plate glass is incredibly cool looking.
I bet. Yeah, the initial heist is nice. I do like that.
This is the part that I'm always just like, what are you fucking doing? The old man who runs this place, they're in there stealing all his coins. He's like, I don't know, 840 years old, give or take, would you
roughly.
say? Yeah, like he saw the Revolutionary
He's
War.
Sophia Petrillo's grandfather.
Yeah, exactly. This guy, he's like, I'm a war veteran. Like, oh, really? What war? And he was like, well, French and Indian,
The Franco-Prussian.
the Franco-Prussian Revolutionary. And they're like, wait, which revolutionary? He's like, oh, a bunch. It's Spanish.
You name a revolution,
Spanish,
I was there.
Spanish Civil.
He's like fucking Wolverine.
Yeah, he is. This man is like 840 years old. And so he's like lying on the floor after they knock him down. He starts crawling for the silent alarm, and I'm just like, dude, you must have insurance. This store is so full of expensive merchandise. Just lay on the floor until they leave.
Yes.
This is just not worth it. This is not worth dying over. It just isn't.
And then it's not even a silent alarm. It's just a regular ass alarm.
Yes. Which is activated by like the old school round brass with a black button center doorbells
like a doorbell.
Sometimes. Yeah. The like type doorbell.
Like, what purpose is that fucking serving?
No idea.
Oh, I'm being robbed. Let me make a lot of noise. Like
it's also not behind the main counter. It's on the floor. So like, imagine some hellion child running through there and just like.
I mean, you can say our older brother. You can just say that.
Yeah, that's true. Our older brother absolutely would have been the button.
Oh, you know what? I probably would too, because I think at our grandparents' house once I pushed their panic button by mistake. Didn't I? It was in their bedroom.
I don't remember.
They had a panic button. They had like a button in their house that would like let their neighbors know they were having an emergency or something.
Oh, I vaguely recall what you're saying, but none of the details.
I don't remember if I actually hit the button or I did, because I feel like if there was a button, I was going to push it.
Yeah.
You know, impulse control.
Yeah.
ADD. All that.
Sure. Yeah.
Checking those boxes.
So he hits this alarm. Lance Henriksen executes him. It's really gnarly.
Yeah.
And then Herschel from The Walking Dead tries to intervene on this, and he shoots Herschel, which makes Johnny very upset. He tries to kill him as well.
Mm-hmm. But Johnny just hides.
Right.
Speaking of Walking Dead, my boyfriend's very into it, and the other day I think he was watching one of the spin-off show, Fear the Walking Dead. There's like 8 of those spin-offs now. And there was like a real like dirty, surly, like butch lady driving the truck who was like talking shit to the people in the back. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that looks like famed anchorwoman Joan Calamezzo from Pawnee. And he was like, oh, she kind of does look like her. And then I heard her talk and I was like, I think that might be Joan Calamezzo. And he was like, no way. And he hit the pause and the Amazon thing popped up and it was like, Mo Collins. And I was like, that's Joan. That is Joan.
I tuned out on that show in like the third season.
You tuned out with the well episode. I remember that distinctly.
Yes, I've talked about it a lot.
I remember. That's why I never got into it.
It made me very annoyed.
It's why I never got into it. Because I was like, oh, that does sound dumb.
I was like, we're wasting a whole episode on this? Anyway, Morgan Freeman is the top cop here in New Orleans. And he says this is an actual line. You got a lot of people feeling sorry for you because you're such an ugly son of a bitch. Which I thought was hilarious.
Delightful. Also, he has such a stick up his ass about Johnny Handsome, who, as far as we know, is a thief.
Yes.
Not a murderer. Not a rapist, not a vehicular manslaughterer, a thief.
And realistically, like a fairly small time thief. You know what I mean?
He's medium-sized potatoes, I would say.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. He's not like stealing purses on the street, but it's like he robbed a store. He clearly didn't kill the guy because he sat there afterwards and his brother was dead with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Morgan Freeman. It's also a weird thing where Morgan Freeman is like, why are you protecting these people? They wouldn't help you. Like, he knows these other people did it.
Yeah.
And then because he doesn't flip on them, he like won't, I don't know, give him the time of day. He just is like really going after it. And it's like, you got this guy dead to rights for this crime, open and shut case. Like, you'll catch Lance Henriksen doing something else, presumably Morgan Freeman.
But he spends the whole movie being like, you're a criminal. You'll always be a criminal. I don't care. Like, you may fool these people. And it's like, again, he's a thief, a medium potatoes thief.
Yeah.
And you're in New Orleans. You're telling me that there aren't 100 other crimes? 1,000 other criminals out there?
Right.
This one?
Right. Like, get any other person would be better. And like, because you don't stop Lance Henriksen, Morgan Freeman, in a few years, he graduates to playing the most dangerous game, kidnapping homeless veterans and hunting them for sport. And that's your fault.
Well, I think he tricks homeless veterans. He doesn't. Kidnapping implies they like scoop him off the street into a van.
That's true. They don't scoop them off the street into a van. They offer them money.
They lie to them. They are subterfuge, lies, and smoke and mirrors. But I would say it's not kidnapped.
I can't wait. We ended up having to reschedule Listener Request Month, which is fine. But September was going to be Schlocktember, and we were going to do 4 schlocky action movies, including Hard Target. And I'm sad that I'm not getting to do Hard Target this September.
I know, because I don't want to give. I would say Schlocktober, but I don't want to give up.
Yeah, we can't get. Yeah, October, November are programmed. Yeah, we'll find a month for it. I have no doubt about this, but
we could hang the schlockings in December.
We could, but the thing that was so great about this is it was a 4-episode swing because we had the Patreon plus a 3-episode month, so I was really getting to dig in the mud. Okay, so we got the lawyer. We have like sort of a deal on prison time. He gets sentenced to Angola, which is truly one of the worst prisons in America, and always has been.
Attica was remains to be famously bad.
I mean, there are many.
I feel like I've heard Attica several times. I've not heard of Angola before.
Angola is where they took the Freedom Riders, and then
like the Freedom Riders was. I don't think
Riders.
They were
Riders.
I don't think Hillary Swank and her class were arrested.
No, the real, actual civil rights people, the Freedom Riders,
with a D,
were taken there and basically tortured. And that prison remains awful. It started as a slave plantation and has been awful ever since.
Oh, so
perhaps one of the worst places in America.
So the ham-fisted prison slavery analogy was just not like done by the filmmakers. Yeah. That's just how that prison works.
That is actually the truth of the history of that place.
So that prison. So instead of having them make like license plates, that prison just has them work on a farm.
I believe so. I don't know if that's still the case, but it is like they are still having horrible things there. When I used to work at a criminal justice organization and I worked on stuff that was happening like actively at Angola that was just truly heinous human rights violations.
Jesus.
A truly bad place. But they set up the 3 strikes thing, which I thought was kind of interesting and would be coming back later.
Oh, yeah,
but like some places 3 strikes is life imprisonment. And it was just like, oh, well, them getting caught on the 3rd job means Johnny goes to prison for life. That's kind of an interesting wrinkle. Maybe that's how, because like, wouldn't it be even more interesting if in the scenario you pitched and the one I was thinking about the whole movie as well, or something akin to it anyway, if like the part of it was like Morgan Freeman threatening to double cross him the whole time. And then it's like,
I love that.
It's like, either you help me or you go to prison for life. It's like all the pieces are on the board. They just don't put them where they belong.
No. It's like they were trying to play
gets...
Mousetrap, and this was a game of sorry. And it's like, well, hang on.
Yeah. But this judge is wearing, this is a reference for,
also, why was he in the shadow? I thought that was going to be a thing.
Yeah. Okay. The judge is in a shadow. He's wearing Arn Anderson sunglasses, which is only a reference for like 3 people on Earth, but those who got it, got it. And he is so obviously reading off cue cards that I think what happened was they were like, we're going to put these sunglasses on you because we have to hide the fact that you're obviously reading the cue cards. So now you have a man wearing sunglasses that aren't like blocked, so you can see his
why not
eyes
just give him
the cue cards.
The verdict paper? That's a thing. The judge gets a verdict paper. Like, why isn't that what it was?
Yeah, or I don't know. Alternatively, just cast anyone else. It's like 2 lines of. Or how about this? Just cut this and do this voice off screen. Who cares about seeing the judge? We understand we're in a courtroom. What are we doing?
Because here's they should have kept this judge moment if they were going to put Forrest Whitaker in the courtroom.
Yes,
because it's just everyone needs higher stake. Like Forrest Whitaker needs to have like seen in the, obviously we don't need to like show this, but like saw in the newspaper that Johnny Handsome was on trial. He went thinking, "Hey, I'm going to follow this case because I can rehabilitate him." And then
this guy is the perfect candidate for facial reconstruction surgery.
He also in the movie explicitly says this is not an experimental surgery, and on Wikipedia it's referred to as an experimental reconstruction surgery. And I was like,
yeah,
so which is the
I thought
truth,
that was
Ellen?
strange. Yeah, I also did notice that. I see what you did there.
Oh, wait, that was not an Ellen Barkin reference. That was a.
I thought you were quoting Dakota Johnson.
I was. Of course I was.
Okay.
Of course I was.
Okay.
Actually, that's not true, Ellen.
Terrible actress, very good talk show.
Great in interviews.
That's what I say about it. Incredibly good interview. A truly wretched actress, Dakota Johnson. Like one of the worst going.
I don't think I've ever seen her in a movie and liked it. Or I've seen her in a movie, actually.
I've seen her in like 7 movies, and I just every time I'm like, why? Why her? There's so many people out there. I understand that her parents are famous.
I didn't see Madam Web. I didn't see any of those Grey movies.
I saw Bad Times at the El Royale, which is not a very good movie, but she is a dreadful portion of it. And then isn't she in one of the Knives Outs? No. Something like a Knives Out?
She's not in Knives Out because
okay,
I love both of those.
Okay, well, I forget what it was. Anyway, she's a terrible actress. Moving on. We are literally making these people pick cotton in this prison.
Yes, we are.
And while he does that, he gets stabbed.
Yeah, I was like, who the fuck is stabbing him? Why does anyone? Yeah. Why do people not like him? He's just ugly.
This is Lance Henriksen like trying to have him killed, basically.
Yeah, which we learn in a second when Morgan Freeman is like, "Well, you got stabbed, and Lance Henriksen did it." And I was like, okay, cool, okay, that makes more sense than why he got stabbed randomly.
He took over your brother's bar and the whole dang operation.
Is it his brother's bar?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Johnny Dufresne.
Andy.
I know. I was.
I get it. I'm sorry. I fucked up. I messed up. I fucked up.
I still love when we played the block.
I got it. I spoke before I got it.
The Blockbuster game, and I had one word, and I was like, "Can I do an impression with this?" And you said, "Yeah." And so I just said, "Dufresne."
Truly great game, by the way. If you like movies and you have friends
and you like fun
board games, yeah, the Blockbuster game, very good, very good.
Also, the funny thing, real quick, about when Johnny gets stabbed, the prison warden on a horse with a gun, chases down the stabber, to hit him with the gun, and I was like, hey, I think that gun has another feature. Not that I advocate gun violence, but I think it's interesting that you forgot the main function of a gun.
Yeah, he wallops the shit out of this guy with the gun, but it is a weird choice in the moment. So Freeman offers the same deal again, and then he says no, and then this is when Forrest Whitaker comes in and it's like, hey, I could give you a new face. What do you think about that?
and a new life. And I was like, well, on whose authority? Like, you're just a doctor, aren't you, Forrest Whitaker?
Right. They give us that before the explanation that, like, no, this is legitimately on the up and up, and he and Morgan Freeman have like a big back and forth where I wonder if this is I wonder if this is what the Wikipedia gets wrong, because it's an experimental program for rehabilitation, but the surgery is not.
That's probably
the
what it
program
was.
Is experimental, because the idea is like, you give people facial reconstruction surgery and it makes it easier for them to have a new life and, you know, turn over a new leaf, whatever cliche you want to use after they've been released from prison.
So like, it's funny.
It's basically witness protection. New name, new idea.
Yeah. It's because I was like, they pitch it as like, we help like people like you. And I was like, how many people like him aren't like, in my head, I'm like, well, you get like a Jason Voorhees, a Freddy Krueger. Okay. A Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers because he got stabbed in the eye. Got to get that eye fixed.
I need a new face, bitch.
Welcome to my new face, bitch. Like those people, yeah, but I don't know a lot of like normal.
Here's Freddy.
Yeah,
'cause he's doing that. Like after he's got his new face that's poking through the hole, and he just looks like unburned Robert Englund.
Yeah, Robert Englund finally doesn't have to be in makeup. That is the only way Robert Englund would come back to that role in a non-just voice capacity, I feel. Because he's like 75, like he's like I did
some years ago, and it was probably 10 years ago, but I remember hearing him be like, I'll put it on for one scene and then it's like, oh look, it's all connected because it's all dream stuff. And I was like, that's honestly not a bad idea. Like have him get him in there doing like 10 get him in the makeup, you film for one day, you put him in like 12 or 15 scenarios and have him do like Stan Lee type cameos.
Oh, I love that.
So he's just like, I'm pushing a broom, bitch. You know, where's my mocha latte, bitch? You know, like whatever he's doing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like Freddy does to get 25 or 30 minutes of Freddy footage, and then when you make the Freddy sequels, you just like put him in there like in one scene, and then people are like, oh, this is like a different version of this Freddy. And then you have,
but don't make it the same way you did the girl with the dragon tattoo one. Like that he was bad. That was a bad makeup and design.
Wait, what? The girl with the dragon tattoo?
What, the actress who was the girl with the dragon tattoo? She was in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Oh. Okay, I was like, wait, what? Robert Englund's not in the girl with the dragon tattoo. I just watched that.
No,
movie.
the girl with the dragon tattoo is.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Is he
in this? Well, I was about to be like, wait, is he in the Swedish version?
Wouldn't be shocked.
I didn't watch the Swedish version.
Would not be shocked if he was in Das Girl that's still in Tattooken.
Yeah. Rooney Mara is the person you're talking about.
Yeah, Rooney Mara.
Do you know why that's her name?
Rooney?
Or both of them. Do you know why she's Rooney?
Well, I assumed Mara was just a last name, but is it?
Well, do you know who the Maras are?
I know Kate Mara. I know her.
Their family has for generations owned the New York Giants. And the other side of their family, the Rooneys, for generations have owned the Pittsburgh Steelers. So she is Rooney Mara because she is the heir to both of those things.
Oh, it's like Armie Hammer is Armand Hammer.
Yes.
We don't talk about him anymore because he...
No, he's fucking weirdo.
In a weird side of Reddit, I bet.
Speaking of weirdos, Lance Henriksen, I feel like, is just quintessential perfect New Orleans scuzzball. Like, he just looks so exactly right in this city.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they fake Mickey Rourke's death in the newspaper. They're like, oh, the stabbing worked. He actually
Which I thought was weird because it seems so strange that the top detective in New Orleans fucking hates Johnny Handsome.
Yes.
Yet the whole, like, town, like the whole like newspaper industry and the medical industry are like, we're gonna give him a brand new life. Like those two things just they're not in the same universe.
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's like exactly like you said. It's like the rewrite of this where he's an adversary, and the only reason the surgery happens is for the setup is just like so much better.
It is.
So we get the big surgery, and then the recovery is like months.
No,
and
they
months,
give it.
it's not
weird.
just
They for some reason they decided it needs to be 2 surgeries, and I was like, we just make it 1. It's a movie.
Yes,
you can.
Yes,
you're writing this.
Yes. It's not real. Also, I will say it's eerie how much one surgery Mickey Rourke looks like Mickey Rourke in 2024.
I know.
It's alarming. Because it's mostly just like big swelling around different parts of the face.
Because it looks like they didn't do his forehead at all.
They didn't. They did the mouth only.
The first surgery, I was like, I mean, I guess. But then Forrest Whitaker's like, you're not going to look that different yet. And I was like, I know in the real world, that is how plastic surgery works. We're in a movie. We are in a neo-noir thriller in New Orleans. Like, I don't want real.
In 7 years, there's going to be a movie in which they remove the face of John Travolta of Nicolas Cage.
And put it on John Travolta.
No, yes, but also after we just watched the movie because my wife really likes that one.
Face Off?
And yeah.
Really?
When they take off Travolta's face and then when they're going to put Nick Cage's face on him, they give him a haircut while his face is removed.
Can you imagine getting little hairs caught under your skin?
Yeah, that's literally the only thing I could think of the whole time. It's just like, why didn't you cut his hair before you did the surgery?
Or
they take
after.
the face off. They take the face off, and then they start getting in there.
Also, do they have
to
similar
give him,
body types? Like,
no. Nick Cage is like pretty wiry in that movie, and he has like a real male pattern, or not. Is male pattern borderless the bald spot or the receding hairline?
Yeah.
He's got the real receding hairline thing going. And so they have to give Travolta the receding hairline and cut the hair short.
Yeah, I was just curious. But I don't know why they bothered to make it 2 procedures. I don't know why they have so many fucking time jumps in this movie.
Well, also the mouth part that they do the surgery on is like, it looks like a horrific burn scar because there's like a part where like his lip is connected but not at the corner, like
it's like a hair
gap.
lip or a cleft palate or both.
But isn't it also connected over, or am I making this up?
I
where
think,
it's like got like
you're probably thinking of a different makeup effect in a different movie.
Okay. But yeah, so they're like, you're not quite there yet, and he's like, I look beautiful. I forgot to do Stallone. I look beautiful.
They have a weird interview in between about his past, and I was like, why do we give a shit about his past now?
Yeah.
Only for him to tell a story about how he was like, we all made fun of the fat kid, and then the fat kid called me ugly, and then I beat the shit out of the fat kid. And I was like, wow, that added so much shading to this character.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was, doesn't he say he like sent him to the hospital? Like, I think it's supposed to be like, oh, this guy's a maniac.
I guess, but like, what?
I'm not saying it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they do the second surgery, and
my note there, sorry, is I beat up a kid once. Is that anything?
Yeah, it's like,
does that help? Is that anything useful?
Because first I was like, oh, he made fun of the fat kid, not realizing his place in the pecking order is tenuous at best as the horrific ugly kid in school.
Right. Also, they're making him do speech pathology, but like,
with a very kind nun. Shockingly, a kind nun.
But like, if you're Walter Hill and Mickey Rourke rolls up on set and is like, all right, I got the voice. And it's like, okay, let's hear it, Mickey. Yeah, so like, I'm going to talk like this. No, sorry. And try again. Not that one.
Back to the drawing board, Mick.
Because the thing that they're making him do, which I'm sure is like a real speech pathology phrase, is Mama made some lemon jam. And then you're listening him do that like, Mama made some lemon jam. And it's just like, no. You barely can understand this man. Yeah. What are we doing?
I was so grateful for subtitles in this movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I also genuinely shocked that they didn't give him a large Victorian hand mirror when they cut off his bandages.
Absolutely. Real mistake, honestly, not doing that.
Because, like, that's what everyone pictures. Like, anytime any of my trans friends get surgery, I'm like, did they give you the big hand mirror when they cut off the bandages?
Because, like, you could also have the moment where, like, he's so surprised by how he looks, he drops the hand mirror.
Yes, and then you get a shot of the cracked mirror, his face in the cracked mirror.
And Forrest Whitaker's like, well, that's 7 years of bad luck. Hope that doesn't come to bite you in the ass.
There you go.
It's like, oh, no. Oh, yeah, no, it will definitely do that. I gotta say, though, 1989 Mickey Rourke, incredibly pretty.
Very pretty. Also, we get another time jump features. 6 weeks later now. And I was like, what are we doing?
At least they put the Chiron up.
It's fine, but like they keep doing. I'm like, it's like Death Becomes Her. I'm like, is it 40 years later now?
The movie takes place It's 94 minutes long, and I think it's like legitimately 6 to 8 months in total if you add up
It
all
might
the
be a
time.
full year.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's also really great in this scene, I have to say. Like from an acting
Which scene?
standpoint, the Mickey Rourke like looking at his face in the mirror
yeah.
for the first time, I think is like genuinely very
It's good.
moving. It feels very real to me. Like if you were to have this incredible life-changing surgery happen, I feel like this is pretty close to how it would go.
Yeah. We live in this is a very pre-HIPAA world because Morgan Freeman just wander around being like, where's this patient in the hospital? Thanks, Toots.
Yes. Yeah. And then he and Forrest Whitaker have like another, argument, stare down, whatever. He gets a nice dressing down from Forrest Whitaker here, actually, where he's like, people aren't just their actions. You should give this guy a chance. You're really, selling them short, which I thought was good.
But like, I wish the movie gave me a nugget of information as to why Morgan Freeman hates Johnny
100%.
Hansen. Like it,
Yes.
like my partner died in a chase that you were involved in. Like something
Yeah.
like Johnny Hansen.
I was literally about to say Johnny's brother killed his partner.
Because I don't want Johnny didn't kill anybody, but like if they were in a chase and his partner lost control of the car, yeah, sure, you would blame Johnny for that.
Yeah, or like a bomb went off at one of the heists and he got killed by that or something. Like, yeah, there's a million ways to do this.
So now Johnny lives at the hospital, but can go get a job and stuff. And I was like, all right, I guess.
I mean, it does make sense that he needs to have a job. Like, I think this is kind of like sort of a halfway house, honestly.
But halfway houses are usually like houses, not large
No, I know.
hospitals.
Yeah.
With other
you're absolutely right.
patients and like a medical staff. Like I feel like this,
Right.
like they should have sent him to a or Forrest Whitaker's like, you're gonna live with me while you're being rehabbed.
The other thing I was going to say is the scene where Morgan Freeman meets the new Johnny is all shot with like, it's like Morgan Freeman walks in the room. It's a tight shot of Morgan Freeman who's like, that can't possibly be a Johnny Handsome. I'll be damned. And then it cuts and you see the good looking Mickey Rourke. But the way this scene is shot, you could lift this sequence of Morgan Freeman walking in and being completely flabbergasted of like, what? I'll be damned. And then you could cut anything on the other side of it. Like anybody out there who's a video editor. Yeah.
Or
it's
like an Instagram, viral moment.
Yeah. Of like the other side is like your baby doing something funny or whatever, where it's just like him doing this like humming a wind up. You could literally put anything on the other side of it because it's like 45 unbroken seconds of Morgan Freeman reacting, and then we get the other side.
Yeah. So he gets a job at a spark factory making boats.
I literally wrote down Spark Factory montage.
Yeah, like what's her face is in the back. Jennifer Beals is in the background.
Yes.
Working hard for the money.
I think Spark Factory would go on the new bingo board. Years and years ago, a listener made that.
I think so.
I love the classic uniform deduction, which is such a scam of shitty jobs.
I know. Well, I mean, they're going to make you buy a uniform anyways, I guess.
Alternatively, the uniform is only useful to work here. You fucking pay for it.
Yeah. Because that's why, like, as a server, like, they didn't pay for it. It was like, you have to buy a black polo. You have to wear black polos to work.
Yeah.
Except for the one time it was St. Patrick's Day, and they were like, I got there, and like, you can wear green today. And I was like, would have been nice if someone fucking told me. And they were like,
exactly.
You can check Lost and Found. So I found a ladies' t-shirt in Lost and Found that said Lucky in a green glitter font. And I was like, I'm wearing this. You all can suck it.
The boss is played by Peter Jason, who is on They Live. He's the guy that like sells out to the aliens immediately.
Oh, that guy. And then
sorry. That's George Buck Flower, but he does also sell out to the aliens.
Gotcha. And then Lady Grantham from Downton Abbey is here doing a real foghorn leghorn. Like she's hanging out with Benoit
This
Blanc.
accent is fucking ridiculous. It's worse. It's so much.
Well, the best
worse.
is she's not British. She's an American. Like she plays an American in Downton Abbey. That's her thing.
Unbelievable.
So she and Benoit Blanc are out here foghorn leghorning up.
Later on in the movie, he finally shows her the picture of like what he looked like before the surgery, and she's like, "Who's this guy?"
It is. You know what it is? It's Benoit Blanc by way of Gambit.
Uh-huh.
That's what it is. It's Gambit
it is
Leghorn.
it is almost as good as you'll all learn about this. Whoever wrote that nice review about saying us not being a joke in the ground is going to really regret it when we get to Hard Target. And I spend the whole time doing my accent work of Wilfred Brimley as Uncle Duvet.
I'll make you Anaconda. John Voight in Anaconda too.
Don't you worry, Jean-Claude. I'll make you the explosives. We'll take care of these guys. It's all good. Uncle Duvet on the case.
Jerry. I think someone in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, it might be Mark Hamill, also does that voice. And you're like, what are we doing?
My wife really hates the Uncle Duvet, but I do it a lot. She's like, Jean-Claude Van Damme isn't doing a Cajun accent in this movie. You just made that up. And I was like, no, this is his voice. And she's like, no, it isn't. We're watching the movie.
It's firmly not.
Anyway, they flirt. The accents are just abysmal between the two.
Because I don't know what fucking accent Mickey Rourke is doing in this movie. Like,
right. Because he's doing that horrible, like really inappropriate voice, and then after he's fixed, he's just Mickey Rourke voice. But then they're like, sometimes he's Southern.
There's like a weird affectation. Yeah, it's like a weird like childish affectation, and I don't like it. I don't get it. I don't like it.
Yeah. So he gets the 411 from Donna, the Downton Abbey lady, and we find out that she is cooking the books for
her friend
this
Earl.
guy. Yeah.
Something that really is going to pay off and really be crucial to the story.
Well, it does have her learn that Johnny cares about her. So
much late. So she shows up later,
like an hour later.
An hour later, which like in the movie is what, 5 months? In this movie,
the movie is like most of a high school term between the two things.
Because later she's like, I don't understand, Johnny. You beat up Earl and then you're pushing me away, and I was like, wait a minute. He beat up Earl months ago.
Don't you want to go get a muffaletta and a couple of beignets? Get us a couple of beignets and a couple of chicory coffee down there at the Cafe du Monde.
Get us a yard of strawberry margarita and walk around.
You and I can blow that powdered sugar all over each other and then make some bad decisions.
Yeah, she's
how about we go see ourselves some brass and Zydeco music down on that Frenchman Street?
How about I take my top off with some beads?
I'll make the biggest pot of gumbo you ever seen in your whole damn life, Johnny. Handsome.
Etouffee.
You're drowning in my bowl of gumbo.
Etouffee.
How about some jambalaya? Everyone in New Orleans is just like deleting this podcast. Yeah. Not this episode, the whole podcast.
They're deleting the podcast app. They're like the innate iPhone podcast app. They found a way to delete it.
they put the phone on a vice and just like crunch.
Peter, she's like at one point she's like, you beat up him and then now you're pushing me away, and I was like, yeah, that was like a month and like a lot happened between then and now.
Yes, yeah.
Catch up,
Lady. It is
Lady
a cool
Grantham.
scene when he does confront that guy, I will say.
Oh yeah, I liked it too. Johnny sees the comical money storing room at the job, which why does this job have a money storing room? Why is there ATMs all over this job?
So this is my hunch, and they don't go into this in the movie, which would honestly make it more interesting. I bet that this company lets people cash their paycheck with like a payroll loan level percentage taken out of it.
Okay.
Because it's like I bet most of you don't have access to a bank account. We hire a lot of people on parole and like formerly incarcerated, so like they have a harder time with that stuff. So it's like, oh, we're such a nice company. We'll let you cash your paycheck here, and we'll just take 10%. Just for the convenience for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I guess in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, they also were cashing checks in the office because they were so busy. So I guess it was a thing.
I mean, when I worked at Acme, the grocery store, they cashed that you could get your check cashed. No bullshit. Like they didn't take any percentage or anything. It was just like a service they offered employees.
Like when you say cash, like they would give you the cash.
You could sign your check and cash it.
Get a stack of cash, not like put it.
Because I would get my paycheck that would be for like $187. And I would cash it out, and I would put $7 in my pocket, and I would hand Dad the rest because car insurance for a 17-year-old is expensive.
Yeah.
and it would be like, here you go. I owe you more money next time I get paid. And then at the end of a month, I would have like $13.28 and be like, well, I guess I can go to the movies. Johnny gets out. Morgan Freeman's still like harassing him, and then Johnny goes to the bar, which is a strip club actually. And this is the most confusingly dressed.
Oh, you missed you missed the. He tells Lady Grantham that he was in prison, but not about his surgery.
Oh, that's
they go to a carnival and then they're in bed, and he is so fucking sweaty. Like he looks like
it's New Orleans,
he looks like he got misted down. Like it looks intentional how much sweat he has.
John, I want you to hop in the shower and clean yourself off before you get on top of me. If you roll around on these sheets, we gotta wring them out and fill a baby pool.
You sound like it's like turning into Mitch Hedberg a little bit.
Somehow it's funnier to me if she speaks very quickly. So it's like my own bit on top of a bad bit. It's like it's bitception.
Ourobitos?
It's a bad accent. Yeah, Ourobitos. Nice. Excellent.
He gets paroled. I wrote still waiting for a plot because it's...
Johnny, I never seen anybody sweat that much unless they was eating my uncle's etouffee. It's the spiciest etouffee you ever seen in your whole damn life. He puts 100 chili.
About the head of that crawfish.
He was 100 chili peppers in that etouffee. That's what they call Uncle Duvet's 100 chili pepper etouffee.
There's 30 minutes left in this movie, and I was like, what?
We have not gotten to the plot. Like, the main plot of the movie has not yet started.
I was like,
we're in...
It's been an hour of just walking. Without any direction, without a map, without stars to guide, like Johnny has never once been like, give me a fucking journal scene. Christ. I'm going to get revenge on Ellen Barkin and Lance Henriksen. If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to set them up and there's none of I don't even know what he's fucking thinking until he sees this comic money room. And I'm like, I guess he's going to steal.
Also, throw away the good idea that we had. Isn't it just much more satisfying if he brings them in on this heist, and then on the day of, he just
calls the
disappears
cops
and lets them get caught.
That's what I thought we were doing. I was like, he's gonna go to Morgan Freeman and be like, "Hey, buddy, go here."
Yeah, I got something to show you. Come down to my office right now, and it's like here they are with guns and masks and all that bullshit.
But no,
I gotta talk about this stripper because they go to the strip club, and this woman is dancing on the stage. She has silver heels and a G-string on. So far, so good. Very normal stripper outfit in a movie.
Plus suspenders.
And she has,
right?
Yeah.
Is it...
No. That might be a different stripper, but the one I'm talking about has on one thigh high, and on the other leg, a wedding kind of garter belt. The the one that the derringer would be held in a Western thing. Not the garter belt
or a small flask.
Right, not the garter belt that holds the stockings up with the single leg thing. And then on the single garter leg, she has a thick black ankle sock, like you'd wear to play basketball.
How did I miss that?
And so she's dancing on the stage, she's shaking her ass, doing her stuff, and she's in this rhinestone G-string, so it's very shiny. And then they pan back and you can see the shoes, and I'm like, wait, she only has one thigh high on? And then I swear to Christ,
it was
other side,
a dry fit, an ankle.
No, a thick, a old school thick athletic sock, from the 90s, late 80s or whatever.
Wow.
Not like a thin, business sock. But we're talking a big guy, a puffy, thick ankle sock. Or
not dry fit.
Not ankle sock. Up the calf, like a mid calf.
Like a gold toe?
Yes. She has on a mid-calf black gold toe.
Wild. I'll have to find that again.
It's crazy.
Also,
I wrote 4 lines about this because I was like, wow, that outfit's weird. Wait, I found another and then I circled back around, had it on I have a square drawn in my notes because I kept having to go back and add things about this woman's outfit as they revealed more of it.
Also, Mickey Rourke has the dumbest fucking ponytail I've ever seen.
Oh, it's bad. It is a not good ponytail.
It's worse than, it's shorter than Pebbles, and it's on the back of his head. Like, just
Yeah.
put it on the top of your head at that point. Be an
Give
onion.
yourself, have a water spout, baby.
Be an onion.
So he meets with Ellen Barkin, who's like, I think I know you. And he's like, I think you do. And then she's like, where? And he's like, I guess you'll have to figure that out later. By the way, I'm going to have sex with you and you're still not going to figure out who I am.
And also, let's pitch a heist to Lance Henriksen. And I wrote, he's setting them up to get caught, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go to a weird-looking oyster bar.
Yes. And they tells him about this $5 million payroll heist they could do.
Like, this oyster bar looks like Jake's in Westchester, where it was dollar beers, and you could smoke
I never
inside.
actually went to Jake's.
And you could smoke inside.
Our brother refused to go to Jake's when I was the right demographic age for Jake's.
Well, that's because Jake, when he was younger, when he was going to Jake's was a quarter beer.
Oh.
Now it's a dollar beer.
Oh, inflation comes for us all.
And my good friend, my best friend in the world is from a different world than dollar beer night. Was like, do you have a wine? And they like picked up a box of Franzia and went, we got a box of blush. And she was like, sure. Meanwhile, everyone else is like, I'll take a $5 pitcher of draft beer.
There is a bar here in DC that their big gimmick is you buy the liquor and then they hand you, so you get like a squeeze bottle, like a mustard or ketchup bottle
Of liquor?
full of liquor that you have ordered. They pour it in there and then they hand you like a can of whatever. So if you order a gin and tonic, you get a squeeze bottle of gin and a can or a bottle.
That's
like a
pretty
mini bottle
fun,
of
I
tonic.
think.
Yeah, and I was like, it's like kind of a running joke on the DC subreddit and other places, and I was like, saying to my wife, I was like, well, maybe we should go there. And she's like, I mean, I've been there a lot when I was 22. Like,
oh, okay.
she was like, we would go there. We lived near there. It's not something you're going to enjoy. It's gross.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, we're old. We're almost 40. You're almost 40. She would be very mad if she heard me say that about her. Not really. Anyway, so he lays out this whole plan for Lance Henriksen. He says we get paid bi-monthly, which made me go like, what? And then I realized he means the twice a month version of bi-monthly. Yeah. Which is what I think of as bi-weekly. But so they're going to rob the ATMs, and which is honestly like a pretty good heist setup, to be honest with you.
Well, they're going to rob the room before they fill the ATMs.
Right.
And then we also learned Ellen Barkin got stiffed in the first heist of the movie.
Yes, which is crazy. Why is she still with this guy?
I don't know.
Because she hates him.
She clearly does, because immediately after she's like, let's go to the dirty oyster bar, and I want to fuck you and tell you let's cut out Lance Henriksen.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman tries to poison the well with Donna. She like goes to her
I hate it. He's
at work. Yeah.
Lady Grantham, and he was, oh, you're pretty. And I was like, this shouldn't be the first fucking thing you say. But cool. And he's like, your boyfriend. I guess you believe him. Bye. I was like, you didn't even ask her at least ask a question.
Yeah. She's like, what are you talking about? My boyfriend Johnny Handsome? He loves my etouffee.
And he's like, bye. And she's like, don't you want to ask a question, officer? Like,
after you barged in here and flashed your badge and made me feel like a criminal.
Yeah.
So Johnny kind of breaks up with her. He goes to visit a money launderer.
Who's his lawyer,
is like,
I think.
Yes. Yeah. Is that right?
I think it was his lawyer.
Okay. Yeah, it does look like the lawyer now that you say that. I did not make that connection, but I think you're correct.
Yeah.
I got distracted because this next scene is like maybe one of my top 5 single scene characters in all the movies I've ever watched, the gun dealer.
Oh, he's fun. He is fully John Voight in Anaconda.
This gun dealer understands what movie he's in.
No
the
one
movie
else
that this should be. Yeah, it's just this guy who's like, oh sure, this movie, yeah, got it. And he showed up on set and he did it, and they were like, yeah, whatever. Just
like if I was the producer and watching this, I'd be like, this scene, this is what the movie should have been. Go reshoot.
Yeah, this is the movie. You have made the wrong movie.
And it's funny because apparently this director got approached for this movie like 4 times, and I was like, I mean, you clearly didn't want to do it. That much is painfully obvious.
Yeah.
And then he's talking about like, I think people just were polarized on the ending. It's not a feel-good movie. I was like, it's a nothing happens movie.
I will say if the ending wasn't so bummer, it would be a better movie to me. I don't think it's a great movie either way.
Or if it was clear. We'll get there. Because whatever.
Yeah. So this gun dealer, he's got this like big ass gold tooth. Johnny picks up the first gun. He's like trying to sell him on it. And then he's like, I got this other brand new gun. And he like flips it open. He's like, this comes from, was it Russia? Wherever it comes
Something
from.
like that.
And he's like, it's mostly plastic for all the snow they got. You going anywhere cold with this thing?
Like this man is playing, like, just off screen is a boiling pot of gumbo and a bunch of crawfish to bite the heads off of, and
Yes.
Gambit and John Voight in Anaconda. Like they're all he's hanging out with them. at
Uncle Duvet also there.
Uncle Duvet.
Uncle Duvet out there.
They're all hanging out on the fan boat that he runs.
Yeah.
On the
Yes,
weekends
yeah.
to take them through the swamps.
You need yourself a nice handgun for protection.
Like truly, that's what it is. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. We go to the apartment and Lady Grantham is coming in there and it's like, what have you done to me, Johnny? And then she picks up the picture. Who's this guy? I literally
Who
backed it up
disease?
because who this guy? Who this guy?
And then he kicks her out, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore, because I thought you were like setting up a trap, and now it's like
Yes.
you're actually breaking up with Lady Grantham, so I don't know
Yes.
what's happening anymore.
Well, I was like, oh, he needs to like make sure she's far away from this.
Well,
and
is
so
he?
she
I was like,
doesn't-
he's doing a Campbell's soup guy in Harry and the Hendersons, like.
oh, he's like, get away.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
You thought it was
genuinely
Campbell's
for
soup in
your-
her.
Like genuinely for your safety, you can't know about the scheme that I'm enacting, so I need to push you away. And then after the scheme resolves, I'll come and apologize to you and hope that we can work it out.
But like, again, a diary sequence would have been
Yes.
really goddamn helpful.
Well, also if there was a scheme, because there isn't a scheme.
it's
There's
hard.
no
It's
scheme.
impossible.
So Ellen Barkin goes and applies for a job. I really like the
Does
part
she,
where she gets
like? I thought she just walks in and pretends she has a job because she has a badge.
Well, maybe I thought she was like applying because it seems like he's like reviewing her resume and then she's like, I gotta ask you something in private. And he's like, oh, this lady wants to have sex with me. And he takes her into the room and she whips a pistol out and he pisses his pants basically. I thought that was good.
That could have been but I didn't know that was happening. I was like, so it's just a real robbery? I was like waiting for Morgan Freeman to show up.
Yeah, I was like, I really thought this movie was going to have Johnny having gone to the cops and like catching it. It's like, nope, they like steal the money. People get, the boss gets pistol whipped a bunch. They blow
drive
through a gate.
deeper into the. It looks like they drive deeper into the plant, and I was like,
It
where
does
are we
seem like
going?
that. I'm assuming the gate is because they're leaving, but it does seem like they're going further into the spark factory.
I was like, isn't everyone knows you're here? You didn't leave.
We're going to weld the car to another car, and then we'll have a double car. We get away in that.
Johnny and Barkin swap the briefcases and let Henriksen drive off, and Johnny immediately
Okay.
is like, bye, bitch.
They swap the briefcases in that they go to the other car. He puts them on the ground and slides them under the car with his foot. And then they open the trunk and the trunk has identical suitcases in it. And then Lance Henriksen walks over and his foot is like touching the real suitcase and he doesn't notice it.
Yeah, it's dumb. But yeah, it's straight. Henriksen leaves, and then Johnny's like, all right, bye, bitch. I'll see you later. And she's like mad. So she like cabs back to the house and lies about being held at gunpoint.
Yes.
And Henriksen's
yeah.
mad.
Lance-
And she's like, hey, dumbass, do you see me with millions? Like, what do you
He
think
has
I
a-
did?
He has a pistol in one hand and a bottle of whiskey in the other. And he's just like slugging this bottle of whiskey.
The lawyer was involved in the original heist, it seems,
Yeah, I think so.
or something.
He's the money launderer, basically.
Yeah. And he's figured out who Johnny Handsome is.
Oh, we also forgot to mention when we go to the apartment with Ellen Barkin, Lance Henriksen, before we see him with the pistol and the bottle of whiskey, has on these amazing snake or gator skin boots that are like white and black and just like perfectly absurd.
I do love those.
Yeah. Every time we went shopping for our wedding, I would like be in the men's department and there would be like ridiculous gator shoes. And I'd be like, and she would be like, I really don't care. I know you don't want these, but you're welcome to get them. And I would be like, yeah, no, I can't pull that off.
I think the lawyer is calling Lance Henriksen. Is that who he's calling?
We don't know who's on the other side of the phone, but he's like actively trying to launder this money when Morgan Freeman walks in.
Yeah, and he like catches him. Then
Well, at this point, I was like, oh, he did go to the cops. That's what this is. But no, this is just Morgan Freeman, like, dogged good cop catching the bad guys.
Lady Grantham gets kidnapped by the gang, and the gang finds out Johnny Handsome is Johnny Handsome.
Because they go to his apartment, and she's also in the apartment looking for Johnny.
Yeah.
Also, there's this third guy whose
The
name
driver?
is Larry. Yeah, his name is Larry. In the movie, the actor's name is J.W. Smith. But like, he gets like, I don't know, 2 lines of dialogue maybe in the whole movie, and it's just like, this character doesn't need to be in here. He's just like in a bunch of these scenes at this point.
Yeah, he could have been dropped pretty easily and not like not changed too much.
Right. So anyway, Morgan Freeman and Johnny Handsome, like, rendezvous here. Morgan Freeman's like,
Well,
I think you
Morgan
probably wanna
Freeman
go
kicks
kill
in
them.
the door, which like I don't know where this is because Johnny was like, "I'm gonna meet you all in the cemetery." So I don't know how Morgan Freeman found out he was in this hotel or whatever.
Right. And they have like a whole big back and forth that resolves with Morgan Freeman being like, all right, well, I'll let you go kill them.
Yeah, wild.
We see a pretty clever move here where he has the bag of money and he puts the gun in the bag of money so that, like, I guess if they frisk him.
I missed that. I thought that was a reveal.
That's a bummer.
I thought that.
Okay.
I liked the reveal later because I was like, oh, he's planning ahead.
He he tosses it in, slams it in there. I will say I love a NoLa cemetery showdown. It's
do
like
too.
anytime a movie's in New Orleans, I'm like, I hope that we get a big scene in the cemetery. I love the one in Ghost Rider. I love the one in Double Jeopardy. Anytime you
I
get
haven't
a
seen
big
Ghost
showdown
Rider in so long.
Not a very good movie, but some of it's fun.
Henriksen beats Johnny and cuts his face, and then we think ruins his voice again.
Yeah, somehow he gets back to the old voice, and I don't know if this was just like it's really hard for him. He has to really try to get the voice right, and so this is just part of that.
Well, this is where I was fucking confused because his voice gets ruined. Stuff happens. Morgan Freeman shows up, and then Johnny speaks normally. And
for like a second.
And Johnny, because Morgan Freeman's like, well done, kid. And I was like, oh, so Johnny had a bulletproof vest on and he didn't ruin his voice.
Yeah.
And then immediately he's dead. And I was like, well, now I'm confused.
I will say some things you glossed over there.
Well, I was just saying.
Okay.
That was what was confusing about that voice thing.
It is
me.
It is very, very confusing.
I was like, oh, so I guess Johnny, because you don't fake a voice fuck up.
Right.
Unless you're faking it to really sell an illusion.
Right.
So I don't know what happened.
This is my headcanon, which, like, who cares, is like, as he's getting the shit kicked out of him, he doesn't have the energy to like really concentrate and get the voice right because he's like scared and adrenaline dumped and beaten up and all that stuff. And at the end of the movie, when he's like gasping for his last breaths, he wants to send Lady
Grantham.
Thank you. Off with like a good memory of him, and she's of course being like, Johnny, you're gonna miss my etouffee. Johnny, stay for the etouffee. Johnny,
I wanna go get married. I wanna go marry an English royal man.
Yeah,
inherit his house with Maggie Smith.
So I think that's what's happening there. But
who's to fucking say?
Yeah. But I will say, so he gets 7 shades of shit kicked out of him by Lance Henriksen. He like gives him the Joker cuts and stuff. His face is all messed up. And then the movie kind of tries to portray it as like, oh, he's back to his old face. And I'm like, no, not really. Like he's beaten up, but it's...
You would have to do a lot more to get him back to that face.
But he goes for the case. Lance starts to open and he's like, oh, there's a bomb in here. You open it. And he opens it and he pulls the pistol out.
Because I thought this was like a wrapping paper tape.
Yeah.
Sit behind the back Die Hard situation. Because I missed him throwing it in the case.
Right. Well, you were right. It was set up.
But I think it's better. They shouldn't have shown it in the first place. It should have been the reveal.
Yeah. Well, in Die Hard, you get a little more. Anyway, whatever. But I just want to comment on Lance Henriksen has some of like the finest squib work I've ever seen because he's only wearing like a tank top. He doesn't have like a lot to hide squibs, and he's got like a dozen in his chest because
they loaded him up,
riddled. Yeah, so jealous. I would love to get squibbed.
Johnny shoots everybody. They shoot Johnny, and I went, well, they all died. And then I was like, oh no, bulletproof vest. No, he's dead.
Right. Yeah, I was shocked that there wasn't a bulletproof vest.
Well, apparently a kicked around title was The Tragedy of Johnny Handsome, and I was like, would have been a much better title.
Much better title. The 10 times better title, yeah.
The Tragedy of Johnny Handsome, and also do our. If you don't do our edition, whatever, it's a little better. If you add our edition, our punch up, 10 times better.
Yeah. As it is, I think this is like a C plus B minus movie, and it's of an era where I like most C plus B minus movies. You know, it's got stuff I like. Go ahead.
I was just bored. I was bored.
It's not good.
The cardinal sin of movie making and entertainment is being boring, and you were boring. You were Lisa Frankenstein. I had high hopes. I thought cool things were going to happen, and it wasn't.
Yeah, because this cast is ridiculous.
Yes,
Mickey Rourke, Morgan Freeman,
Lance Henriksen, Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, it's good cast all the way around, and it just nothing. And Ellen Barkin obviously she doesn't get very much to do in this movie.
Although I think not according to her. Apparently, she's quoted as being like, "This is one of the great female villains," and I was like, "Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves."
I think her performance is excellent. I just don't think this character gets enough.
She felt this character was like.
Well, frankly, that's probably true for her. You know, I think she's not lying.
I think she was no Annie Wilkes.
Yeah, well, sure. Who is?
Cock-a-doodie.
I can't recommend this, but there are things I liked about it, is what I would say. This is like a 3.5 on Letterboxd for me.
Out of 5?
Yeah. That's a 70.
This is like a 2, maybe 2.5 for me.
Okay. I think I like this more than you did. I will say, like, this is closer to my wheelhouse than yours. Like, this is like I was talking about those, like, you know.
Well, I like
schlocky.
I like schlock. This to me, it was so meandering. Like, that's my problem.
This is schlock wanting to be drama instead of wanting to be action, which I think is the problem. That is my.
Yes, I think schlock operates best when it is horror or action.
Yeah, and this is a drama, and it doesn't really fit the formula.
No. Like, I wanted to like this. I was so excited. Like, I liked the idea. I was like, ooh, we got plastic surgery and new ideas.
It's a great premise for a movie. This honestly, like, we talk about this a lot. Yeah. And like, they would never remake this movie because who cares? But like, this is a great premise that someone should take and make another movie with. Like, it's a good idea. And put
Carla Gugino in the Ellen Barkin role.
Yeah. Great idea. I'm in. Lance Henriksen should play the older brother who gets gunned down in the beginning.
Perfect.
He's still around. But like, yeah, I mean, let Lance Henriksen be the money launderer.
Oh, there we go. I like that. I like that a lot.
2 scenes, yeah. I mean, make him not the lawyer this time. You got 2 scenes. But there's like, the fact that Face Off exists means that like people like this idea. Like, you know, the identity switchy stuff is a fun thing to play with. And I like I said, I watched the old trailer.
Mission
and
Impossible
I was like,
did that too, right? With the
they're always pulling masks off. That's like one of the big tropes of those. Yeah. I say, having only ever seen Mission Impossible, the first one, and none of the sequels, I say with utmost confidence, like, oh yeah, of course they do that in every movie, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But yeah, this is a disappointment, and which is like the worst thing, because I really was like, oh, this is going to be a fun one. I'm really looking forward to watching this. And then I was just like, and even the first half hour with the heist is like pretty fun. And I ended up having to watch this in 2 spurts. And so I watched the first half hour, and then I had to go do something else.
Bummer.
Yeah. And it was like, ooh, I'm excited to get back to that. Like, that was a fun half hour. And then the back hour, I was like, oh, this is not as good.
Yeah, it's strange.
So, yeah. Well, that concludes the month of June. John,
the month of John.
I can't get it right.
June Carpenter Presents is the pitch. We're currently doing the month of John.
The reason that we had to flip everything all around is because we are celebrating the return of Axel Foley, because it's going to be Beverly Hills Cop Month in July. We're going to be doing definitely the first one, which I think is what we're starting with. Although we currently have a request into Netflix, and if they do give us a screener copy of the new movie, we will probably do that first.
Okay,
we've been debating what the second movie will be, because I think I've seen the whole series. I think you've seen none of them.
I haven't seen any.
The third one is the one I have watched the most, and that one takes place at it's a fake theme park in the movie, but it's filmed at is it Magic Mountain out in California?
So it's like more of a Six Flags type place.
Yeah. So I've seen that one a bunch, and like obviously we're theme park nerds. So we will for now, let's say it'll be Beverly Hills Cop on our first episode in July, and if we do manage to get Netflix to send us a screener copy of that movie, we will probably do that first and then the first movie after, so that we can
be relevant,
tie in. Be relevant, all that fun stuff. So I think that I got to be honest with you guys. I think that new trailer looks really damn good. It looks like it gets it. It looks like a lot of practical effects. I was like shocked. I could not believe how much I liked it, to the point that I like texted it to my buddy and I was like, am I crazy or does this look pretty good? And he was like, I don't know if it looks pretty good, but it's way better than I would have expected that to look. So I got high hopes. Here. I know Eddie Murphy has been like really into this, and well, no, but I think he has been like really like wanting to make this movie for a long time, but like wanting to do a good job with it and not just like shit something out. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Judge Reinhold's back.
There we go.
So for now, let's say we'll do Beverly Hills Cop, and then we will see if check the socials, and we might have to switch that around. So that's what we'll be back in 2 weeks for. Don't forget to check us out on social media. It's at Dissect the 80s on Twitter and Dissecting the 80s on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you there. We're also trying to get the Instagram going again, so that's Dissecting the 80s as well. Feel free to follow, not feel free, please follow us there. We would love if you did that. And if you have not yet, please review the show and tell 2 friends. We like it when you share the word about the show. That's how we get out there. Thank you so very much for listening to the show. This concludes the probably one and done month of John, but we had a good time. I hope you did too. I have been Trip Leno.
I will always be Andrew Leno.
Until next month.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.